So once I click this, then just start.
Well, it should have the recording come up as well. Is it?
I didn't record.
Oh, so
We're
we're good.
live. Yeah, we're live.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the two Dum Yinzers / One Man's Opinion on Sports pregame for the Steelers Week 3 matchup versus the Chargers. I guess the most important thing is the injury report, so let's get into that, and then we'll get into the preview of the game. Ryan, you said you have the injury report?
I do. I have the injury report right here. Good morning, fellas. So for the Steelers, it's looking like Russell Wilson is still questionable with that calf. Isaac Seumalo is still out with the pectoral injury. Michael Pruitt is still out with the knee. And Troy Fatanu, of course, who got injured this week, injured his knee, is questionable, which I highly doubt we will see him today. And then also for the
Wait, who was that you just said?
Troy Fatanu, the rookie.
He's out.
He's
Is he?
out. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
he just
And,
got
and I heard he might be out for the year.
That's what I'm hearing too. But I'm just
Yeah.
on this report right here. It says questionable. I'm going to go with what you guys said. Also for the Chargers, it looks like Junior Colson, the linebacker's out with a hammy. Bud Dupree is questionable with an illness. Justin Herbert, I'll get back to him in a second. Josh Palmer, he is questionable with an elbow and a calf, and also Jasir Taylor is out with a fib or is questionable with a fibula. He's a DB. Justin Herbert, he had the high ankle sprain, of course, last week, and he is going to be questionable until game time. He's going to come out, walk around, do a little bit on his leg in pregame, and they're going to decide at that point if we're going to be facing the starting quarterback for the Chargers, Justin Herbert, or if it's going to be Tyler Henneke. I thought it was going to be Easton Stick, but Mike got me up to speed on things, and it's going to be Tyler Henneke if Justin Herbert isn't able to make it this morning, guys.
Yeah, that's one of the things I saw pregame too the other day was like Tyler Henneke is being hinted at that he might be the guy for them for what he was able to do with Washington the past couple of years as filling in. So we'll see. I'm hoping it's Easton Stick and not Justin Herbert or Henneke, but I don't want Herbert. That's all. I don't want him at all out there.
If Herbert's out, what's the over-under for like 10 points for this game or what?
Oh God, it's going to be a low score. It's probably going to be even lower than that. Like, it's going to be a field goal fest. And if it comes down to that, I think the Steelers win. We got the best kicker in the league in Chris Boswell. So if Herbert's out, it's a low scoring a game with these two anemic offenses, and we'll see how it goes.
I'm very curious to see how today plays out. Again, as Mike mentioned, two very anemic offenses. The Chargers did have the luxury of playing the Carolina Panthers last week, so I think that certainly helps a lot. If they would have played, somebody different, you might be able to get a better feel. But again, look who we've played, so it's hard to tell where we're at, what's going on. I think that this is going to be one of these kind of games that the Steelers are generally good at winning. It's going to be close. It's going to be a lot of ground game. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be low scoring. We generally do well at these, but I also read an article that says that the Chargers are a team that's built to beat the Steelers at playing the Steelers game plan. So, you throw a coach in there like Jim Harbaugh, this should be a pretty tight, low scoring, ugly game, if you ask me.
Yeah, ugly, ugly, ugly. Is it just going to be all running or what's going on here? I mean, are we going to see run on first and second down from both teams?
I think so. They've only thrown the ball like 30 times, it feels like, between the first two games. But then they run it 70% of the time. I
Who's
think
that?
it's the Chargers. I think they had 70 rushing attempts and 30 passing attempts in the first two games. It is ridiculous the way these two teams are playing right now.
Well,
Yeah,
how does the
something's got to give. Yeah, something's got to give. Some one of these two teams has to score more points than the other. I guess they don't. It could end out in a tie. Let's hope not. But we'll learn again as time goes on. It's going to be at least a quarter of the way through the season till I think that we find out the true identity of the Steelers team.
Does Justin Fields' legs on third down, is that maybe going to be the difference?
I think so. We were seeing flashes of it the first two games, how he's able to, use his legs to pick up key third downs and move the ball. So I think you're right on the money there. And that gives us a huge advantage, especially if Herbert's injured with that ankle. I think,
tend to think
his wheels will
otherwise
be
because we haven't faced a defense yet, guys, that had that you could say was worth anything. Atlanta wasn't that good, and Denver was poor. And then now you're seeing Khalil Mack on the other side. Now you're seeing Joey Bosa on the other side. Now you're seeing we're going to see things that we haven't seen yet as far as competition goes. And it's going to present a whole new issue. And again, if they come in shutting down George Pickens with the thought in mind, okay, every receiver on this team whose name isn't Pickens has 5 catches for a total of 27 yards through 2 games. They're probably, I think Harbaugh is a pretty smart guy. They're probably going to game plan accordingly. So again, I don't know what effect Justin Fields' legs are going to have. I mean, if you have you're focusing on one guy and then everybody else kind of has their eye on Fields, that kind of shrinks the field a little bit for you. So hopefully we could do some new things. And also the one of the bigger things, guys, Roman Wilson, it appears that he's going to be playing today. So we're going to get a look at him. And that's going to go a long way as far as what we're going to do with receivers.
Yes, we'll definitely need him out of the slot for sure. Does Russell Wilson, is he going to be active?
I think he's still going to be that third string emergency quarterback. He practice, he's been still limited in practice. He hasn't had a full practice since the second week of the preseason. So I think he's going to be that third string, quote unquote, inactive active quarterback. Yeah, so he won't play unless the first 2 go down.
On the board, I just do want to say good morning to John and Jen. John said it's going to be a quick game, more than likely if there's a lot of running.
Right? They're going to run the clock starting in the first quarter.
Yeah. And then Jen, she says, smash mouth football. Let's go Steelers. So everybody's pumped up. I can't wait till game time, obviously. Sundays, you can't wait till 1 o'clock gets here. But again, we're still learning about this team. And again, what are we going to do? What are we going to do if they do shut down the number one? What are we going to do if teams, again, it doesn't, when a team has one receiver, you don't have too many options. So again, we're learning a lot about this team.
You have no faith in Jefferson, do you?
None. No. There's not been any signs to have any faith in him. And here's the thing. Let's just say in preseason, he had a good game and he had a breakout game and he was able to, get 90 yards and a touchdown. We haven't seen anything really. The playmaking ability, whenever he does touch the ball, I'd like to see a little bit more out in the open field. But again, we haven't seen that. And you don't want to say that the guy can't do it. He's in the NFL. He's a pro football player. But again, until we see that, can we put that as a positive? I don't see it with Van Jefferson. I just don't.
What do you guys think about the very sexy position of tight end, though? We have Freiermuth, who's great in the open field, and then you also have Mount Washington, who's going to be great in the run game. So what are your thoughts on those two guys? I will start with Mike.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention the tight ends when we were talking about the passing game. Look for Freiermuth to be used more and more, especially in the middle of the field. They have to get him involved, make him that number 2 receiver, and that's going to open up the rest of the offense for the passing attack. Because now you have to key in on him. And Mount Washington, I'm loving him, not just in the run game, but in the pass game as well. I was watching some film breakdown, and against the Bears, man, he was just eating edge rushers alive. And I think. And what we saw out of the red zone from him last week, that touchdown catch, that back shoulder catch, he still doesn't look like the smoothest route runner. But my God, when you're that big, your catch radius is that large, get him involved down on the goal line. And those two in the passing game, him, Washington in short yardage, youth for those middle of the fields, medium to long passes, that's going to help this passing attack more. This is what we saw out of Arthur Smith's offense is down in Tennessee, the use of the tight ends, and we're slowly seeing more and more, but we need a whole hell of a lot more.
Listen, years ago I might have said this is an issue. If you're going to have your number 2 receiver as a tight end, back in the day that would have been, you'd have been like, crap, we're screwed. But here we are. I mean, you're in a league where Travis Kelce leads the Chiefs, not this year, but in general, he leads the Chiefs in receiving and around the league, you see these tight ends. I'm all for it. If these guys are going to be productive, we're going to be able to move the ball down the field and get it to find our way to the end zone. I'm totally fine. And you're going to be able to do it with Freiermuth. Freiermuth is a very reliable tight end. And as you said, Brian, I think that Mount Washington will be good on the run. But again, he has such a big body. You get down in the red zone, I think you have to use him as well in the passing game. But I don't rule it out. I mean, until you get that other receiver in place, this is going to be what we're going to have to do. It's today's NFL. I'm not that against it. If it works, let's do it.
You know what? Kansas City really doesn't have a number one receiver in their tight ends. They're number one. Yes, he's a future Hall of Famer, and so is the quarterback. But it can be done, and might not have the talent, but if you have the right scheme, your tight end as your second option is not a bad option at all.
What I don't think we talked about enough yet is Kelsey's relationship with Taylor Swift. Like, when are they going to get engaged? I mean, that's what the viewers really want to know.
That's what I want to know.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. They're going to break up this season. Watch. It's going to be during the season. There's going to be a breakup.
She's going to dump him.
Mark my words.
He's going to go out drinking with his brother. He's going to come home, and she's going to dump him.
He's going to go drinking with his brother, come home, and realize he has that ridiculous haircut and mustache, and say, F this.
With the amount of money that I have and then that she has on top of it, I would be okay with having that messed up haircut.
Now,
well, you have no money.
I'd be happy to have
you have no money and you have a messed up haircut. So where do you fall into this?
Somewhere. I'm affable.
I love how we get off topic, but that's great though. I mean, he's just a Paul Skeens wannabe with that stash, huh?
You're right.
Yeah.
Which Paul Skeens does throw today. If anybody cares, at the same exact time the Steelers kick off, the Pirates, who have been eliminated from the playoffs and have earned yet another losing season under 500, they do start the same exact time the Steelers start. Paul Skeens on the hill, but again,
Oh, God bless Paul Skeens. I mean, it's not going to be soon enough for him to get out of town. No. But back to the WNBA. The playoffs start. Caitlin Clark is playing at 3 p.m. today. That's terrible scheduling by the WNBA, don't you think? I mean, why would you want to go up against the NFL?
I agree.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
Why not on this? And again, Saturday you're fighting college basketball. So what are you going to do? You got to get it out there at some point, right?
Yeah, I mean, they do play Tuesday, so I'm sure more people will tune in Tuesday.
Yeah,
so
yeah, and then the NFL goes all day long. Sunday it's 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So what are you going to do?
Thursday, Monday.
Yeah,
pretty soon it's be on every day.
Yeah,
as it should be.
So the Chargers defense. I know we talk about the inept abilities of the Steelers offense. The Chargers defense, like Ryan was alluding to earlier, is an actual real defense as compared to the last 2 weeks we played.
That's what scares me.
Those linebackers, I mean, do you see a bunch of sacks, maybe some forced fumbles? I mean, we haven't had any turnovers yet. What do you see out of Bosa and company?
I think we're going to turn the ball over today. We've been very fortunate. Again, we've played the Atlanta defense and the Denver defense, and we've yet to turn the ball over. I think we lose the ball today at least one time, unfortunately. But again, it has to happen at some point. Again, Atlanta, Denver, not too much there on those defenses. If it's going to happen, it's more than likely going to happen today.
Yeah, I think it all depends on the play of Broderick Jones. I'm comfortable with Dan Moore going up against Khalil Mack or Joey Bosa. He can hold his own against those guys. Those guys are going to make plays. That's why they get made money. But more often than not, he can keep those guys in check. And it's going to come down to what's Broderick Jones going to bring on that other side. Are we going to see Broderick Jones of last year, of his rookie campaign, where he played lights out? Or are we going to see this up and down, lackluster performance, like not engaged in the game, Broderick Jones? So a lot is going to weigh on his shoulders today. This is why I'm glad he's on the right side.
One thing I do want to say, guys, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
At least he's on the right side. Fields will be able to see the pressure coming. He won't have to feel it from the backside.
One thing I do want to say, one of the comments on the board with John says he has Terry Bongshaw out. He says, I got Terry Bongshaw ready. Let's go.
He's in the right frame of mind for this game.
He's in the right frame of mind for this game.
This is not going to be a fun game.
That's the only way you can get through the game, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, we talk about TJ Watt and him getting to the quarterback and getting in the backfield all the time. And we know that he only lines up on the left side. I mean, very rarely does he go all over the field. But Mack and Bosa move all over the place. So it's not just up to the tackles. I mean, it's up to the guards in the center to spot them out and make sure they get a block on them.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. And James Daniels, who's one of the better pass blocking guards in the league, did not have his best game last week. I know somehow he got graded out high. You go back, you watch the film, he was getting pushed around. So was Spencer Anderson on the passing attack. So, like you said, those two need to step it up. I'm comfortable with Zach Frazier and Dan Moore. So it's the other three knuckleheads on this, hodgepodge offensive line right now to step it up.
It's so easy to find Daniels out there with his helmet.
Yes.
He's in standard definition. Everyone else is in high def when you watch the screen. It's bothersome to me.
When they're doing film study, he can't hide from any holding penalties he might receive.
One thing Mike brought up to me earlier before the show was kind of disturbing to me is I don't know who said this, Mike. You might be able to help me with the source, but he said that they are saying now that the Steelers defensive line is one of the best defensive lines in the league, which I think is an absolutely crazy.
Yeah, take it for what it's worth, but PFF is saying they're one of the better, the top interior defensive line in the game. I see flashes from everyone on that line.
But it's going to be way more than flashes to be considered one of the best, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of plays where you're watching Cam getting blocked downfield. You're watching stalemates between Benton and Ogunjobi, but at least in their stalemates, they're taking two guys with them. So I don't see it outside of flash plays. You see them and they pop off the screen when they make these good plays. But at least I'm happy if you're getting ties out of your two guys. They're eating up blockers, allowing the linebackers to make play, which is what you want to see. But for the best interior D-line in the league, I don't see it right now.
You're going to learn today. We're going to learn real fast.
Big time.
You have Gus Edwards and Dobbins running the ball between the tackles. We're going to learn a lot about this defensive line today. We'll see if they're still calling them one of the best on Monday morning.
What are the odds of TJ Watt running past the running backs today? How many times is he going to go off field and miss? Are they going to attack him? I mean, that's what my offensive plan would be. If I'm going to run the ball, is I'm going to run it right at Watt until he slows his pressure down. So that way I can get the play action going.
That's what I would do too. Definitely run at him. This year, he's calmed down from the past 2 years, big time, of just running around the tackle, running around the running back. He's settling down more once he gets that edge to help with the run game. But can he keep doing it game in, game out this season like he did 3 years ago? So that's going to be huge. And I think he's itching to get some sacks.
I think everything that we do wrong will be exploited today. Again, I think that, these hardballs, they're good coaches. Go back to 2012, they were facing off. I mean, two people on a planet of 8 billion managed to, be good enough to coach these two teams to meet in the Super Bowl at the highest level. I think that he's a good coach. If there are problems, it's going to be exposed. If running at TJ Watt, if that's going to be effective, he's going to do it. Again, this is probably not going to be much different than a Ravens-Steeler game in a sense.
This guy took a Colin Kaepernick-led offense to the Super Bowl. I mean, he's going to get the most out of his players.
And if it wasn't for the lights going out, they may have won that Super Bowl.
The lights went out?
Yeah. That's one where they had that big delay at halftime. That way, allowed Ray Lewis, that old man, to rest up and dominate the second half.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I remember the earthquake from the World Series when it was the 49ers and not the 49ers, the Giants and the Athletics.
Yeah, I remember that too. That was, I tell you what, they had all the players that they were out in the middle of the field with their families, and that was something crazy, man.
Here's the best part is I was looking for my phone just a minute ago to look up the weather, and then I had to do it on the laptop because I realized the phone's right in front of me. I can remember stuff from 1988, but I can't remember that my phone's right in front of me.
Right.
I think, were you introduced to Terry Bongshaw before the show?
I do not partake in those things, but I used to in college.
You're having flashbacks now.
Right. So speaking of our kicker,
yes,
our best player,
yes,
Bryan, I know you've been negative so far this whole show on the Steelers' chances. I'm getting a little hint of that.
I'm not being negative. I'm just being realistic. Bryan, before you continue, look at the two teams we just played. Look at the results. And again, you have to think that the coaching is going to be better with this team. You have to think that the defense is going to be better, and you have to think that the running game is going to be a lot better. So, for a team that just won 13-6 and 18-10, we might want to be a little bit concerned about this.
the offense is the dam is ready to break.
That's what Arthur Smith is telling us. But Arthur Smith still thinks that mustache looks good. So don't,
hey,
use your own judgment here.
George Pickens, Najee, they all think it's good. The dam's ready to burst.
I could go ahead.
I heard that they're already putting Deontay Johnson on the trade block in Carolina. Maybe we could bring him back.
Get him for a 6th-round pick.
You know what? At this
point,
I was the first guy wanting to get him out of town. But now that I see that Omar Khan left us high and dry on wide receiver 2, I'm more than happy to say I'll bring him back. You know what? If he runs backwards a couple plays, at least we have somebody that's
you have someone who can run a fucking route other than George Pickens.
I just didn't. Just by the way, Omar Khan has been with everything that he's done so far. I didn't think in a million years that this would be the reality once season started.
I think the prices of free agent wide receivers were way higher than what these guys should have been paid and what the Steelers expected, and they got priced out and then had no backup plan.
But you know what I do like?
Go ahead,
what I do like, Brian? I like the fact that the 49ers suck now. That makes it all worth it.
Yes, they're all hurt.
Yeah, I love it.
Everyone but Ayuk. He was the smart one. I'm going to sit out training camp.
Well, I think Roman Wilson's really going to surprise you today. I think it's going to look like Wes Welker out there back with the Patriots. Right. I really hope that he gives them some sort of spark, especially on 3rd and those mid-range, like 3rd and 6. We need that guy to go to, other than George Pickens, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, and Roman Wilson, he's not afraid to go across the middle of the field either in college. And this dude, he's ready to play some hard-nosed physical football, and this will be the perfect game for him to get back in because I think he's going to help in that run game too, being able to help block, help set the edge. I
do want to say good morning to your Remy on the board. Your Remy says bring back Bryant. I'm guessing that's Martavius Bryant, who is out there again. I know Mike's not for the plan for that idea. I've certainly brought that up before to him. But at this point, guys, what do we really have? Brian, I hope you're 100% right. I hope we are impressed. I hope that Roman Wilson is like a Wes Welker because that's going to answer that's going to make things a little bit easier moving forward. And, we really don't have any other options. Again, 5 catches for 27 yards by all receivers not named George Pickens on this team after 2 games. That's scary.
Well, I've been making a bunch of YouTube videos lately, and I'm going to make another one. I'm either thinking Wednesday or Sunday. I'm going to put one out, and it's going to be on the way wide receivers used to run after the catch versus how they run now.
I love it.
Like your Hines Ward would turn upfield and just lower his shoulder and go in and try to get those extra 5 yards versus the guys just running out of bounds. Right. I really think that Roman Wilson is going to be that guy that isn't scared to take on a hit after he makes the catch. And he's not just looking like Deontay Johnson wanting to run out of backwards and then out of bounds. Pickens just wants to run out of bounds. I think Wilson's going to be that guy that turns upfield and wants to take on some safeties.
Deontay Johnson was like a glitch on Madden. If you hit the wrong button and how they started, that's what he reminded me of. But again, we'll take a look at Roman Wilson today. I hope for the best with him. I really do. But something has got to give. Again, not only is this competition today that we're playing against the Chargers head and shoulders better than what we faced in week 1 and week 2, but the competition beyond this, you're going to see the Cowboys in a couple of weeks. You're going to see Aaron Rodgers and the Jets in a couple of weeks. You're going to see then Philadelphia, every division team, Kansas City to close out the season. You can't possibly think that we're going to be okay with things going the way that they've went through week 1 and 2.
I'm just glad it's a 1:00 game. Doesn't really suck whenever it's a later game. I mean, yeah, at 4:00 it's great, but like at 1:00 you're just sitting there and you got the Browns on or the Ravens on. Like, well, this sucks.
Yeah. Well, I think John's going to be okay with his.
John in an hour and a half, he'll be right in the right mood. Maybe get a little, maybe get some Doritos and some snacks.
Yes, we do got to talk to John also because I know earlier in the year we did talk about the Raiders. The Steeler game is going to be out in Las Vegas, and John's out that way. Guys, I'm just throwing it out there.
Man, maybe you can do a selfie in front of the stadium or something and post it.
I'm saying we go take our asses out there.
Mike can put that on the website next to those malt liquor shirts.
Heck yeah, baby. 10% malt liquor always wins. And it does. It does. No one ever has a good time after you've had numerous drinks of malt liquor.
I feel like I need like one of those derpy faces over me whenever I'm on here. I feel like I'm just like the odd man out.
No, you're the in man. We're the odd man out. It's like look at everybody. Take a moment, look down right below the pictures. As one man's opinion on sports with Bryan Pasquale. Don't let this confuse you. The two Dum Yinzers do not have a Sunday morning show. We are only guests on his show, so enjoy. I do want you to keep checking him out because, as he mentioned earlier, he does these really cool videos. He made a new one this morning about Caitlin Clark.
Yes, check it out.
Do check it out. It will certainly help him, and they're really cool. He pretty much taught himself to do it, and I think they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, the latest one I just posted at 10 this morning. It's on Caitlin Clark, so it'll get you in the mood for football, I guess.
You know what? Hey, she just finished 5th in the MVP race, so not bad. Not bad for a rookie.
Bad for a rookie, right?
Yeah, I think she's going to go on to win that award a lot.
That league was not going to award her that award right now.
Well,
she wasn't going to win the MVP. You seen, the resistance that was there when she came into the league. There was no way they were going to let that girl win MVP.
Yeah. Oh, every girl would quit if she won.
But Asia Wilson just had a dominant campaign.
Dude, let me jump in real quick, guys. John said Vegas, baby. And then also Veremi says, I am in North California, 8 hours away from San Diego.
It sounds like a party out there.
I'm telling you.
8 hours away?
That's a
Northern California. That would be
Oh my God. Yeah, Northern California. You might as well be on the other side of the United States than Southern California.
Well, California is freaking huge. I don't think people that come from California really don't comprehend how big that state is.
No, like every time I think about California, I think everything's like right there scrunched together. Then you look at a map, you're like, oh no, I'm just stupid.
Because if you were to hop on the highway here in Pittsburgh and go to Philly, I mean, that's what, six hours.
Why would anyone want to go to Philly? My God.
To watch Sidney Crosby beat the Flyers, of course.
Or that time, remember whenever the baseball announcer for the Pirates said if the Pirates we were up 10-0, Steve Blass, if we lose this game, we're up 10-0, I will walk home.
It was Jim Rooker.
That's right. Yeah.
And that dude walked all the way from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh.
Jamie Rooker, Jim Rooker's daughter, was a grade behind me in high school. And every time we talked to Jamie, she's married now to my good friend Bryan Bywalski now. But and they have a beautiful young kid together. Okay. So every time we would talk to her, the end of the conversation always says, "That's it, I'm walking home." I mean, she got it every time.
Let me catch up a little bit. Jen says the NFL Network reporting Justin Herbert to start showed him jumping around on the field. Of course, what we reported a little bit earlier was that's what they said. They were going to have him go out pregame and see how his ankle reacts. You know what? An ankle sprain is tough. I did that quite a few years back, and to come back after a week is going to be difficult. But if this is what they do, whatever. Also, Uremi says that they are up by the Bay Area, so San Francisco roughly to San Diego. That's quite some distance.
One of the YouTubers I watched, Bay Area Transparency, he's great.
I think Alex Highsmith's going to have a good game. He's walking into the stadium with a Bobby Boucher jersey on.
Nice.
So he's ready to go. He's locked in.
Now, when you sack someone, you're not allowed to tackle them low anymore, right?
You can't hit them below the knee.
You got him in the strike zone, basically.
We can't get Chemo Van Olhoffen back?
That's what I was saying the other day to Ryan. I'm like, Chemo, come out the bullpen, come out retirement. I don't know what kind of shape you're in, but you can fall on a guy's ankle again.
I would trust John Kitna as a backup over this Easton brother.
Hey, but I got to tell you, John Kitna wasn't the worst backup. I recall him putting about 565 yards against us one day when he was in Cincinnati.
He wasn't a bad start. He's one of those guys that's just like an average starter. You put him in a good system, he can pop some numbers for you.
P on the board, good morning to you. He says, Cali is huge. San Diego to San Francisco is a 10-hour drive. And John says, I got weed that will turn Ryan's terrible towel into a bib. So there you go.
That's like Tally from South Park.
Yeah.
You want to get high?
Oh, boy. All right. We're all over the place here. I guess we got to do more Steelers talk, right? This Fofano injury and the Broderick Jones situation, is this good for Broderick Jones to get another season under his belt and get the starts instead of this whole, maybe you're going to play on the left, maybe you're going to play on the right, you're going to back up, you're going to sub in, but him actually knowing he's going to be out there every play?
In theory, it should, but with Broderick Jones, I nothing really surprises me right now with him. Again, 2 weeks ago, he literally threw his arms up in the air and says, I don't know what I'm doing. That scares me, but in theory, that should be what happens. He should, get his reps and he should be able to improve over time. But for some reason, Broderick Jones is moving in the wrong direction.
Yeah, he was brought in to beat out Chooks, brought in to beat out Dan Moore, and he couldn't do that. He had to wait for Chooks to get benched. But once he did get in there last year, we saw how dominant he can be at right tackle, keying into that run game. So this injury is huge because he's going to get more reps there. I think he needs to stay at right tackle, keep him there the rest of the season because it looks like Fatanu will be out all year. I think he's going to have surgery. If they're saying they don't know how long he's going to be out, that's not a good sign. So just keep him there, run with him, because after him, all you have is John LeGlue. So no, we need Broderick Jones to step up and step up big time, and he needs to be more engaged because last year he was so engaged with the team and the offense, getting out there every day, and he was good. And this year, like you reported, like Chris Hoke said, he was, entitled, thinking he had this spot, and hopefully after last week, he got humbled and realized I need to recommit. And he kind of said that. He's like, I got beat in the game. I got my ass whooped. This is what happens to you. I deserved it. And hopefully he's going to learn from that, move forward, because this team needs him now.
What really hurts is this. Yeah, Fatanu is, was our first round pick. If we lose him for the season, this will be 3 years in a row, because 3 years ago, Calvin Austin III got hurt in preseason and he was out all year. And I couldn't wait to see him play. Last year, Corey Trice Jr. was my guy. We got him, and the cornerback, of course, we got an interception last week. He got hurt in preseason, and he was out all year. And then if Fatanu, in fact, is out all season, this blows. Is this happening to anybody else that draft?
I think it's happening to every team.
Is it really? Yeah. They're losing these guys?
They're dropping like flies.
They are.
Yeah, it's like I was telling Ryan off air. I was going through Twitter. One of the reporters, like, I have never seen this many practice injuries in the NFL in a long time. It's like, guys getting rolled up on each other, getting little tweaks here and there that become major issues down the line. It's crazy because these guys are in better shape now than they were 20 years ago. And it feels like there's more injuries now.
But are they, though, Mike?
I don't know. It just, they
supposedly
look like they're in better shape.
Yeah, they train year round. They have better diets. They have somebody making their foods. That they have trainers, personal trainers. The other guys probably smoked cigarettes in the offseason, or even like the Steelers in the 70s. I mean, they were smoking on the sidelines.
Hey, whatever helps you win.
I
think they should go back to that. I think their offseason, these guys should rest up some, then amp up into the training camp. Because if you're, not giving your body time to rest. Well, of course, who am I to give fitness advice? But you would think that you're using it all the time. You're going to break down faster. It's like, your car, if you keep running it all the time, even if you do keep up maintenance, it's going to, not last as long as a car that doesn't run a whole lot.
Not Al Bundy's Dodge.
Exactly.
That got over 1 million miles.
Yeah. And you had to work on the other million miles to win that car back.
On the board, Veremi says Highsmith showed up with the Bubby Boucher off the with the high quality H2O. And then also P, Mike, this one's for you. Growing strains to grow Mike's hair back. I like this.
Hell, yeah, that's what I'm talking. Steve, thanks for looking out, P.
And you're legal now over there in Ohio, Mike. So
yeah. And yes, we are.
I was looking up a stat the other day that teams that start 0-2 have a 5% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Bengals and the Ravens are both 0-2. What happens if one, if not both of them, go to 0-3?
I think that it's very possible. It's very possible they go to 0-3. Of course, the Ravens do play the Cowboys, and I'm not sure. Does Cincinnati play Buffalo? Is that who they play this week, guys?
Cincinnati plays Washington.
Wow, geez. Okay, so I think Cincinnati is going to win that game against Washington, but I think the Ravens, they have a very good chance to fall into 0-3. Not because Dallas is a good team, but I just think that Dallas is a good enough team that can beat them. And it's
at Dallas.
And it's at Dallas, and they came off of a big loss against New Orleans last week where they got blown off the field. It wouldn't surprise me if Baltimore started 0-3. But on the other hand, guys, they are also going to get the same games that we get. Listen, we basically have the same schedule with the exception of a couple teams. So they're going to get the week games that we've played. They're going to get Denver. They're going to get all these teams. So
the Browns have the Giants at home today.
But again, guys, we get the Giants also later.
They put up some numbers last week.
What I'm saying is I can see Baltimore being okay. Even if they go 0-3, I still can see this team making the playoffs. Cincinnati, I'm a little bit more skeptical. But we'll see what they can do against Washington today.
Yeah, I can see if the Bengals go 0-3, they are going to implode. There's already issues there. Hendrickson wants a new contract. Higgins wants a contract. Jamar Chase wants a contract.
They got a lot of BS.
They got they got a lot of issues down there, and I can see it spiraling out of control. Their head coach, I think, would lose that locker room quick. Baltimore goes 0-3. I can see them Harbaugh rallying them, like just everyone just making the game simpler for themselves and find ways to win games because they have a lot of talent on there. It's going to happen. They'll win, but if they go 0-3, it's going to be a dogfight for them. I can see them making it. Cincy, if they go 0-3, it is going to be one of the most fun implosions to watch.
Baltimore can go 0-3, but they're not an 0-3 team. This is a better team than an 0-3 team. And again, they're going to find ways to win their games down the road. There's still 15 more games, guys. There's 2 been played. They lost 2. Chances are they were going to lose 2 at some point in the season. So you just have to look at it that way. They're going to face the Giants. They're going to face the Broncos. They're going to face all these poor teams just like we do. They're going to get their wins. And you know what? Teams that are sitting here 2-0, we have to play the Chiefs as these two, as the Bengals and the Ravens already did. We're going to have to play the more difficult teams. So these things, they have a way of working themselves out, as P said, over a 17-week schedule. Again, I don't have any doubt in my mind that the Baltimore Ravens will probably be playing in January.
Well, like if Baltimore, they need to stack wins too, because Lamar Jackson has not played a whole season and ever. So if he gets injured and they are already in the hole, that's going to compound things for them. So they might be playing these worst teams later on.
They played all last year with Huntley, and guess what? They made the playoffs.
Is he still their backup?
No, but still, that's, you don't need to have your MVP, apparently, if you're a really good team. And the Baltimore Ravens are, come on, they're top 5, right?
Yeah, they got the old man Josh Johnson back there pushing 40. So we'll see what happens.
I'd be okay. Yeah.
No. I see what you're saying, but I'd rather I'd rather be 2-0 than 0-2 if I was Baltimore.
I feel like I have 2 boys and 0-2 if I was anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like a parent right now of two boys.
But
like third grade and fourth grade.
We haven't even started yet.
Yeah, you guys are both in good moods. That's good. That's good. But it's funny, Mike, because you were talking about people wanting contracts out in Cincinnati. Contract. It's so weird because back in the day, people used to have to earn their contracts. I'm going to produce. I'm going to get you a Super Bowl. I'm going to get you a division win. We're going to win, and I'm going to earn it, and then I get my contract. Now it's like, I want my contract, and then I'm going to promise you to succeed later.
Yeah, and if I don't. I just take my money and run.
I don't blame the players for Jamar Chase. He's proven he's one of the best receivers in the league. They should tear up that rookie contract, give him a new contract, reward him for what he did. Because if these owners can cut you willy-nilly whenever, I don't blame the players for, hey, I want my money as soon as I can get it.
You want your guys to play at the highest level when they're a rookie contract. You know what I mean? That's part of the now I want to pay you more money. You know what I mean? Don't just give them and hope they do well.
And Jen, don't take this the wrong way, Jen, but there's wives in their ears saying, hey, you deserve more. You need more. You need more. That's got to be happening. No offense, Jen.
And even though it's like they're hangers on going, hey, man, you need more money. You need more money. Their agent, you deserve more. Yeah. You deserve more. And just the competitive nature, you're at this level. You're at that, highest competitors going against each other. You're competing not just on the field, but a lot of these guys are pocket watching. They want to see, oh, I'm making more than you. I'm making more than you. So it becomes an ego thing too.
What was it? I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar got a deal, made $1 million or something, and Wilt Chamberlain immediately went to the owners and said, I want $1 million and $1 extra dollar. So he got $1 million and $1. Hey,
yeah, that's what it is. You go way off topic. Pro wrestling down in WCW, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, anyone made more than them, they immediately got a raise because they had to show that they made more. I'm winning, you're not. So I'm not saying I wouldn't be the same way.
Speaking of more, because Watt signed that 4-year deal for $128 million. When is his deal up?
Give me a minute, I'll double check.
Yeah, look that up.
Double checking, guys. I want to say this. They're already talking about trashing the new kickoff rule, the new what do they call it? Dynamic kickoff. They're saying that they were expecting this, was expecting to help people, have more returns. The return game. Well, now they're just doing the kicking into the end zone and getting into the 30-yard line. I think they're going to trash it. They'll probably let it go.
They should make the penalty worse. Kick it into the end zone and then start at the 40
or the 50.
We were saying the 50.
I guarantee you land that ball in the landing zone if you're going to put it at the 50. If you don't, you know what I mean? It's going to land in the landing zone a lot more.
Right. Did you find that out, Mike?
It expires 2025. So
yeah, I knew it was coming up. So next season. So this offseason, I guess he'll be looking for another new contract, right? They like to do it the year before it expires, right?
Yeah. And it would actually make sense because his cap hit this year and next year is $30 million. So if you can do that new contract and get that cap hit down, roll stuff up into a bonus and save money, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Kind of like how they did the Cam Hayward deal. It's, you technically got a raise, but you're saving the team $9 million. You got these extra years that we can cut you and cap it's minimal. I look for the same thing for TJ Watt.
Well, basically, go ahead. Ben Roethlisberger, they gave him the contract, and basically his contract was designed to restructure it all the time so that they could fit people into the cap and go out and get players. I think Watt's kind of in that similar situation where they'll restructure it every year a little bit so that they can get that extra guy on the team.
Yeah,
sorry about that, Ryan.
No, you're good.
Yeah, because I'm looking at his contract now, and that's kind of how it was designed. Like the last 2 years, he got a lot of guaranteed money. Then this year, it's moved around and shit. And it's been restructured a couple times. So, yeah, I think his new one will definitely be that way as well.
I was just going to update a little bit. We were talking a little bit before. John said the Bengals could come back, but the Ravens are going to go to Chernobyl. Also, Yeremi says, how are they not running the run option with Field and Harris and every other player? Why do they not do that with a guy like Justin Fields?
I'm thinking because of the injury to Russell Wilson. You don't want to get him hurt.
Yeah,
because that read option with those who could be deadly, but like you said, not having a backup of.
I mean, throwing the play once. I'm not talking about run your whole offense around it and run it.
Once a half or something. Yeah.
Right.
Like they've ran it a couple times and it's hit once or twice, and a couple times it hasn't. It's been bad. So I don't know why they should run it more because the risk outweighs the reward outweighs the risk.
Also, P says Bryan talking like he could run a sub 6. Wait, what is it? A sub 6 second 40. Back in the day, Bryan was quite the athlete back in the day, wasn't he?
Listen, I don't mean to toot my own horn here, but I never was I never was tested in the 40 because I never, played football.
Yeah.
But in track and field, the final race of the match was the 4 by 100. So it was the 4 by whatever. I guess 4 by 400.
400.
Yes, the 4 by 400, and I was the anchor. And let me just tell you, Ryan, Mike, people listening, I never got the baton in the lead. Never once, and I never lost a race.
Well, when you go up against the middle schoolers and the elementary
also to put
kids.
it into perspective as well, this was
also
our
section.
There
my
was
junior and senior year won our
Fresh
section.
Prince of Bel-Air still coming out every week when this was going on, so it's been quite some time.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
Oh my God.
Wasn't that the Carlton dance?
Yeah,
it is. Yes,
Tom Jones, baby.
Or my rendition, the white rendition,
the
uncoordinated.
I think Russell Wilson would be like the white rendition. I don't know. That's just the vibe I get.
Yeah, he looks like he has our rhythm. Offbeat all the time. Yeah.
How do we transition this into football?
Well, staying in rhythm is going to be a key to the game on offense. We have to stay in rhythm, gaining positive yards first and second down, make those third down manageable.
No penalties.
No penalties is going to be
penalties
huge.
have to come down greatly. What do they have? 19 in the first 2 games?
It's ridiculous.
9.5.
It is absolutely ridiculous.
And penalties are up all throughout the NFL too. So it's not just a Steeler problem, but it's a league-wide problem. But yeah, we have to clean it up big time.
Yeah, the fundamentals they have to that has to stop. They have to stop with the mistakes. They have to again, considering that competition is going to continue to get more difficult as we move along. If we want to continue finding ways to win football games, that you have to start with fundamentals. I mean, come on. We're getting paid a lot of money And I'm pretty sure I learned this in termites at age, 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever it was. Something's got to give. These guys have to clean that up.
Here's the thing with our penalties too. They usually have nothing to do with the play.
Right.
Like typically you see like a holding penalty and a guy runs for 30 yards and you're like, oh, that took back the penalty. And you watch the replay and you see, oh, he would have got tackled if he didn't get held. Right. Ours is like somebody on the other side of the field that's not even involved doing something stupid. And then it costs us a first down or gives the other team a first down.
Yes.
Also, receivers jamming, getting hand running up into the face mask. We saw that a couple times.
He says 4x100 anchor gets a running start. Brian, he gets a one. He said that. Did you get a running start in track?
Listen, here's the deal. I was the long distance guy. I held down the half mile, the half mile relay, the mile, and the 2 mile, and then I got so fast that my junior and senior year, my coach said, we need you to stop running the 2 mile, which was 8 laps, which I was glad to stop doing that one. And they're like, we need you to be the anchor in the 4x400. And yeah, I mean, you do get a running start when you get the baton because you get a little area that you can start at and you start running. But I mean, everybody else got the running start too. It wasn't just me.
Don't ask me. I don't run, but it sounds exciting. It
was not exciting. It was miserable.
So we're down to about the last quarter of the show, guys. What do you think, Brian? What do you think is the key to winning this game for the Pittsburgh Steelers today?
Okay, obviously not turning the ball over, no penalties. Basically, we have to clean up all the mental mistakes that we've had. What's going to happen out there is what's going to happen. TJ Watt's going to probably make a couple big plays. Maybe Highsmith's going to make some big plays or Fitzpatrick. But the offense really needs to control the ball, not have penalties, and not turn the ball over. And I think the defense will do enough to outscore the Chargers.
How do you think our linebackers and our defensive line is going to stand up against this running game? I mean, again, you're not only facing Gus Edwards, you're facing Gus Edwards and Dobbins. It's, this is basically a Ravens game, guys.
I see the Chargers rushing for over 200 yards against us. I honestly do.
If they run for over 200 yards, we're going to get blown out. I can't imagine them having a big game like that and us not losing. I just can't. Come on.
Well, I'll save my prediction till the end, but I do see them rushing for over 200 yards.
All right.
Yeah, that offensive line that they have out there is sneaky good. Not just Rashawn Slater, not sneaky, not just Slater and Joe Alt, but that interior line is good too. And it's going to be a fun matchup watching those three go up against Ogunjobi, Benton, and over the hill Cam Hayward. So that's going to be fun to watch, and we have to control that. That you can control the interior. They can run outside all day they want. I'm comfortable with our linebackers secondary cleaning that up, but that interior O-line, D-line battle on both sides of the ball is going to be huge.
I think this game is going to be as close as you could get to a Steeler Ravens game without the temper. Again, you have a Harbaugh at the head coaching position. You have the running game. You have the defense. I just feel like this is a West Coast Baltimore Ravens, and I don't think the game's going to this is going to be a Ravens-Steeler game.
Well, the weather's going to be like the Southern California weather, so this might feel like a home game for the Chargers. I mean, it's going to be 83 and sunny today, so there's no rain, no winds. It should be a game played in the air, but I feel like it's not going to be.
And you know what's weird about this, guys? We live here in Western Pennsylvania, and the weather's it always stinks. It's either if it's not hailing, it's tornadoing. If it's not tornadoing, it's snowing.
I survived a tornado.
You did survive a tornado, but it's crazy because you get these games and you watch all the people across the country see these games in Pittsburgh, and it's always bright and I think there's even pigeons on the field. But I want the Chargers here whenever we're playing in Pittsburgh weather. It's kind of this
like that Miami Dolphin game where the ball got stuck in the field on a punt.
Yeah,
that was the greatest. It was one of my all-time favorite plays. One of my all-time favorite plays.
I don't know if we've ever played the Dolphins and it's been good weather. You go back to the 80s, it seems like every game against them, there's been some kind of
it's the Ace Ventura curse.
Yes, it is the Ace Ventura curse.
Oh my God.
That's not Snowflake. Dan Marino started that movie.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Lace
it was terrible acting.
Oh, that was peak bad acting.
when Ace Ventura slides down the rope and Dan goes, "Who are you?" I'm like, that was the best you could do. It's a terrible line.
Probably is that literally is. Ooh, you remember the Isotoner commercials? My God, he was like a hostage just staring at the screen.
Dan Marino was my idol growing up.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. Hey, Isotoners.
You know
now
what?
he does he does those commercials for like old men.
Yeah. You know, if you take out Viagra. Super Bowl rings, he might be one of the. He's a top 5 quarterback of all time.
Oh, could you imagine a player like Dan Marino with the rules today? How many yards he'd pass for?
It'd be disgusting. He wouldn't survive in the pocket. He'd be destroyed easily.
Well, if he had
was younger, he was elusive.
If he had his 92-year-old knees, of course he'd get destroyed in the pocket.
Well, I just remember like older Dan Marino getting beat the hell up in the pocket.
Yeah, you're a little bit younger than us. I remember whenever he was a year or two.
Yeah.
How old are you, Mike?
43.
I'm 47. See, that's a lot in the 80s.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, that is a lot in the 80s.
P says every time I've been in Philly, the skies were gray as fuck. You know what? Me too.
Yeah,
and it smelled that time. Every time I was only in that city a couple times, and it was on layovers, but there was always a smell in the air in Philadelphia.
You know what I have to say? F Philly, F the cheesesteaks, F Rocky, F Boys to Men, F that whole place.
Oh, cheesesteaks are delicious.
He went to Boys to Men. I was on
Will
board
Smith.
I was up on board till that part, till you got to Boys to Men.
Cheesesteaks are delicious.
Oh, they are. Okay. And people on the board, tell me if I'm wrong here, but in Pittsburgh on menus, it always says Philly cheesesteak, right? And it'll have like mozzarella or provolone cheese. It'll have mushrooms. It'll have peppers. And I'm like, that's not a Philly cheesesteak. A Philly's cheesesteak has the meat and whiz cheese and onions if you want. And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't understand why it says Philly cheesesteak. I'm like, that's not a Philly cheesesteak at all.
I tell you what, there's a place right across the river from me here that they have amazing original. This dude is from Philadelphia and he has amazing cheesesteaks and I love them.
Next time you go in there, tell him my problem with Pittsburgh restaurants.
Yeah. It depends where you go. Some places have it right. Some places have it right. Other places don't. But
they turn it into like a Permani's sub and they call it a Philly cheesesteak. I'm like, what?
P says Pennsylvania is just dark until you. P says Pennsylvania is just dark until you get closer to
Maryland.
Yeah, just dark until you get closer to Maryland. Oh,
I'm pretty close to Maryland.
Closer to Maryland.
Down the road, you take 40 and you go from like Uniontown right into Maryland. Maryland's beautiful, a lot of mountains though. I guess until you get towards Baltimore.
Yeah.
No Roman Wilson this week. No Terrell Edmonds this week.
Well, Terrell Edmonds, we can't miss him because he's never played yet.
No Roman Wilson again.
Yeah.
He had a full practice on Friday. What the heck?
Yeah. So something could have flared up over the weekend. You never know. Flared up yesterday, flared up today. High ankle sprains are tricky. They suck. They've ruined many a career.
It's funny. We're rooting for his high ankle sprain, but against Justin Herbert's high ankle sprain.
Yeah. I don't know. I just we're running 4 wide receivers. We're not going to throw the ball a whole lot, so
Yeah. What if we get down and we have to? I mean, can Fields actually pass the ball?
Some of those darts he's thrown this year to Frymuth, the couple to George, he's showing like his accuracy is getting.
But again,
a hell of a lot better than it was in Chicago.
Let's just say it wasn't against the in the first 2 games against the Denver Broncos or Atlanta. I think that this team is going to be more prepared than those 2 teams were. I think this is going to be a tough one, guys.
I don't know. Like George made 2 really good corners, possibly the best corner in the league, look below average. And he's going to have another good battle with Asante Samuel, but he's not Patrick Surtain.
Yeah, but Pickens still only ended up with a few catches. I mean,
right. It wasn't
penalties,
like
right.
It wasn't like 8 or 9.
Penalties negated. It's over. They never happened after the penalty.
Yeah, so but you still have to take it in context. They're making the plays. The O lineman can't keep.
It doesn't matter. It never happened. It's like it never happened.
Never happened. It happened, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It shows up on film, so that's something to be you can be excited about. Like it's there. That's
something you could use to prepare, but it never happened.
You know what it reminds me of, and I know I don't want to talk about politics too much, and this might upset one.
But
of
after
the
a week from now,
members.
that play never happened. You'll never hear about it ever again because it's gone.
It shows up on film. You got to prepare for it.
But so does. You know what? I can't. We don't have enough time.
I can't. I don't have time either.
Yeah, we do. All right. Let me tell you. Listen.
Let me tell you.
If the play is a penalty, it doesn't exist. Of course, it happened. We're not fucking stupid. It happened.
It happened, yeah.
But it doesn't. It's gone. It doesn't. Yeah. It's a penalty. It doesn't exist.
Right.
When you talk about the results, it applies.
The results don't exist.
No, but the play happened. So
of course, we're not retarded. Of course, the play happened.
Yeah, if we were saying, we're worried about George Pickens because the stat line sucks. Yeah, you go back and you watch the film and watch plays that were taken away due to penalties. Like, okay, I'm not as worried.
Well, guess what? It never happened because the results aren't there. The results never happened.
Yeah, because you're arguing against you're circularly arguing. You only want to take these.
I'm going to turn this car around.
Yeah, I'm taking the results and I'm saying that this is what it is. You can't.
Yeah, I'm taking the results too in context. You have to take everything in context. That play is there. It's on film. We can see that it happens. That okay, I'm not.
But nobody cares because it didn't happen.
Well, people care. The coaches care. The players care.
Okay.
And that's why the dam's ready to burst. You clean up those penalties. Those chunk plays happen.
You say that, but after we score 6 points this game, you're going to change your tune. And I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for the dam to burst. I'm just waiting for the dam to burst.
Boys.
This wasn't even.
You had to bring the element of the two Dum Yinzers into the show.
Yeah, it happens.
It's great. It's good. It's good banter. It's like when Trump won in 2020, and then a week later, all those mail-in ballots magically showed up, and Biden won. It's like the penalty. It's just like Trump never won, and we just got Biden for 4 years.
Magically showed up. Hey, when you have, hey, don't use them. Okay.
But it never happened. They were there. They found them. They're on the.
They weren't magically. They were. Hey,
They
I don't have $8.7 billion to pay out like fines, so.
Tens of thousands of ballots in a river with Trump's name on it, but it never happened.
Hey,
the hanging chads. Do you guys remember that?
We got to finish it, guys. Mike, you're really
zero wins in their lawsuits. 0 wins in their lawsuits.
Let's see how many wins the Steelers get with those results as well, guys. Here we go, Brian. We have 5 minutes left. Any predictions?
I still have the Chargers. I think it's gonna be a close game, like a 21-14, 14-17 type game. Yeah, that's more points than we scored for the most part on offense, touchdown-wise, defense-wise. But
listen, I understand that Harbaugh is treating it as it happened, but I'm just saying ultimately it didn't happen. It's negated. Of course, they're going to treat it as a coach is going to watch the film. Yes, of course. I get that. But as time goes on, it never happened. You'll never be able to have proof of it ever again because it's not a play. It's gone. Okay.
But anyway, I think it's going to be a close game. I think the teams are going to score more than what we think they are. But I think ultimately the Chargers win. I think we have a late second turnover in the fourth quarter that they go down and kick the game-winning field goal.
Bryan?
Okay. I have the Chargers scoring 15 and the Steelers scoring 17.
Well, that's all I'm saying, Ken. That's all I'm saying.
I like the Steelers to win.
You like the Steelers? Again, this is a Ravens game. You have your head coach is a Harbaugh. You have two of the well, it is, Ken. But you have Harbaugh as a coach. You have the running backs, basically, that's Baltimore Raven running backs, and you have a good defense. You have Khalil Mack in the linebackers. You have Bosa. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough game. Again, after coming off of a Denver win, after coming off of an Atlanta win, I think we're going to see a whole different game. And if we're not prepared to come out and play that different game, if we're not prepared to come out and play on that level of this being a Raven-Steeler game, I think we're going to be in big trouble, especially considering that, they are going to have their starting quarterback. That was one thing that we hoped that we was going to see. Mike, what was the guy's name? Tyler Heineke?
Yeah, Tyler Heineke.
I thought we were going to see Tyler Heineke, and I was hoping, but again, now you have their starting quarterback. Now you have, it's going to be tough, guys. I listen, everybody on the board. I don't not want these guys to win. I do want them to win. And
doesn't sound like it, Ryan.
But you know what? That's me being, I guess, just being realistic. And it's not going to be a game like it was against Atlanta. It's not going to be a game like it was Denver. And you see how those games finished. So that's what my point is. This is going to be a different kind of game. We're going to have to prepare as if this was a Raven type game. And if we don't, we're going to lose because they're going to run the ball down our throats. And as back in the days when we were facing people like Eddie George, remember from Tennessee, when they get rolling, you just can't stop them. And that once it gets to that point, the games become very frustrating, and we just can't fall into that. We have to continue to oppose our will, whatever our will is. We have to continue to impose it, and also learn a little bit about ourselves along the way.
Man, also, negative Nancy.
Ryan's just ready to watch. Well, he's just fired up. He's ready for some Steeler football.
Ask him, Mike. I pace all game.
Oh, he's
really?
Yeah. Over here at the studio, he's been pacing for hours nonstop. He's just a ball of nervous energy right now.
I think that you're making amazing points, Ken. Don't get me wrong. Don't hate me or anything, but I think he's making good points. They are points that I would be making against somebody that's the same argument. So
you're just being a little contrarian.
He did say, I'm not really afraid of the Chargers, to be honest. The difference between the Ravens and the Chargers is the Ravens are used to these types of games. Of course,
that's true.
The Chargers are not. Ralph on the board. Afternoon, Ralph. Ralph says, Ryan, you are a realist. Of course, also Kenneth says the pressure is on them to prove that they are really like that. We play 6 of these games every year. And finally, P on the board says Chargers establishing a run game is scary. I agree. I mean, we've faced good Charger teams in the past, and again, they never really end up being like really good teams. Of course, this team never won a Super Bowl. This team really hasn't done much. So I think the burden is on them to prove themselves that they can win this kind of game. But again, if they have pieces in place, and if anybody in the AFC West is going to play the way the Ravens play, it's going to be a Charger team that's coached by a Harbaugh and has basically the same game plan.
I'm predicting that they throw a Hail Mary in the back of the end zone and end up losing like a 96.
No. As soon as you said Hail Mary, no.
Well, you know what's funny about those 2 games? The 3 more years, the game that was the year prior to the AFC Championship that would have led us to the San Francisco Super Bowl was against the Chargers. And the very next year in the playoffs, it was the Jim Harbaugh Hail Mary pass that they dropped in the end zone that allowed us to go to the Super Bowl against the Cowboys. So those 2 years was the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh, which we're seeing today, all big game situations. I don't think today's going to be any different.
And like we always say, Kennedy's secretary was Lincoln and Lincoln's secretary was Kennedy.
That's right.
Spot on analysis.
And then Jen says Tallman's quote was the reason let's see. Dobbin averages 6 yards. You know what? Somebody that averages 6 yards a carry, that's scary.
Somebody's averaging 9 this season. I think 9 in the first 2 games.
I don't know. It's going to be fun, guys. It's going to be tough. I hope we finish, we're 3-0 by the end of this day. There's no 2 ways about it. But again, guys, this is going to be a team that's better than what we've seen so far, and we've squeaked out a couple wins. That's where I'm running into an issue. But if we could come out and again impose our will, I think that we could certainly win the game.
We have a way of dragging teams down to our level, outside of like the top tier teams. Yeah. So that's giving me a little bit of hope. And if the defensive line, if they can play as well as everyone says they are, and be more consistent, and not just have a play here or play there, I think that's going to bode well, because we have to make them, I hate to say it in today's NFL, but we have to make them into a passing team, because their receiving core does not scare me at all.
Right.
My Yinzer DNA says we're going to win. Me being, a realist, I think the Chargers win 19-16. That's my predictions. Way
to end the show on a negative note, Brian.
Yeah, but I've been on a negative note all day, so you can't go by that, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, then you take us out on a positive note, then, big guy, because I need a little bit of uplifted spirits as well.
I have 3 things to update everybody on.
All right,
3 big things. The Rubik's Cube, which I finished for the first time watching the 2 Dum Yinzers months ago. I was watching your show, listening to it online, and I was fiddling with the cube, and I finished it for the first time. 2 nights ago, I did it in under 30 seconds, 28 seconds I timed myself. So that's my big Rubik's
28
Cube.
28 seconds?
28 seconds it took me to finish this. The other 2 things are, real quick, on Wednesday I made a video on YouTube about TJ Watt. Go check that out before the Steelers game. Please watch it all the way through, like it, throw me a comment. subscribe. And then this morning I dropped a Caitlin Clark video. It's very good. It's the good, the bad, the ugly about Caitlin Clark. A little 6-minute video. Please watch both videos. You guys have no idea how much it helps out my small channel grow, and it gets the algorithms to shoot it out to like everybody. So if you guys could jump on there, do me a huge favor, check out those 2 videos. I would really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're gonna like it. I already checked it out, and it's really good. Again, I'm anticipating the playoffs here. Of course, today Caitlin Clark is going to be making her first playoff appearance, taking the Fever to the playoffs. So it's going to be very interesting. And if it wasn't right during the Steeler game, I'd probably watch it.
Right?
Bad timing. Bad timing.
Yeah.
Well, after the game, after they lose, that you could check out the second half, right, Ryan?
Hey, like I said, the Yinzer DNA says we're going to win, but reality, if that was the case, we'd be 17-0 every year. I just think that this game's a little different. I think we're going to adjust, have a difficult time adjusting. I think again, 19-16 is going to be the final count, but I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong.
All right. Anything else from you, Mike?
No. Just I'm just a little disappointed we're not seeing Roman Wilson this week, but like Ryan said, my Yinzer DNA, I want us to win. I hope we win. But I just think this is the week where we slip up a little bit.
And we got the Colts next week. So if we rebound next week, I mean, going 3-1 after the first quarter of the season, I'm okay with that. Again, I don't get me wrong. Again, I want to win this game, but my heart, my gut's telling me 19-16. Also, before we go, Brian, Kenneth on the board is asking what's your channel called. He wants to check out your video.
One Man's Opinion on Sports. You go to it. 2 things are going to come up. You're going to see my Wednesday night radio show come up. I have like headphones on. That's not it. It's a picture of LeBron James, and it says One Man's Opinion on Sports. And click on that. One man's opinion on sports. And I have 4 videos I've just posted in the last week and a half.
Yeah, he just taught himself about 10 days ago, and I think they're excellent. I would recommend them to everybody to go check out. But also, guys, the 2 Dum Yinzers will be back tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Monday morning to talk about everything that happens in today's Steeler football game and the rest of the NFL, and probably Paul Skeens and Caitlin Clark as well. So do check us out tomorrow, 11 a.m. Right here on YouTube.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. Go Steelers. Like I said, I have them in a 17-15 victory over the Chargers today.
Mike, what's your score? I'm sorry, I forgot.
I think I had like 21-14 in that range, 17-14. The Chargers. I think they're going to score last second.
Okay. All right.
All right, guys. We'll catch you next week here at 11 a.m. for One Man's Opinion on Sports with the 2 Dum Yinzers Steelers pregame.
Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. And then we'll see you next week as well with Bryan. Thank you.